Hello everyone, Coach Dave here, and we're going to make another attempt at doing a real life versus sim racing comparison, but this time we're just going to isolate it to Assetto Corsa Competizione. We're in Budapest at the Hungaroring. This onboard is from the Blancpain GT Sprint Series last year. I can't remember which session this was, but it is me driving, and it's a new tyre run. Not such a bad lap coming up, but not perfect either. But I think that's actually a good thing to do a comparison. I could easily find the perfect lap from my session, but I didn't want to do that. You'll see that I'm missing the rear view camera in this particular onboard. That was because of quite a scary issue that happened prior to this lap, but that was all sorted out, removed the camera, and we got going. So I'm actually preparing for my first flying lap here on the new tyre. But before we get started, I just want to thank my channel sponsors for making all of this possible. So thank you to Thrustmaster, and obviously if you're looking for some coaching, hit me up. Alright, so starting the lap, going down to turn 1, there's a line just at the pit to exit, which is kind of the reference. You can brake just after it if you want to carry speed through, but I wanted to get onto the apex curb. I've got on the power a little bit early and ran fraction wide, but still green on my delta. Now braking for turn 2, you brake just as the curb starts on the right, and then go into the apex, and you try and hug the apex as long as possible. It's a downhill left-hander coming out sort of just in the middle of the track, bringing it to opening up that right-hander, and then heading up for probably the most exciting corner on the track. Blind left-hander, you look for a little cone on the inside, which is also in the sim. Maximize the curve as much as you can, sort of, and then approach turn 5, this right-hander from the middle of the track. I got a little bit of snap oversteer there, and that's kind of the biggest difference between real life and the sims, is you can just obviously feel and you have more grip at your disposal in real life, whereas in the sims you're always trying to balance the rear end and stop the car from spinning out. That's true for ACC, it's true for Assetto iRacing, and even obviously Gran Turismo Sport, which is on the lower end of sims. Going through this high speed right, you can really maximize the edge here, especially in Blancpain. They're quite loose with track limits in certain areas. And then here you can do it in first or second gear, both in the game and in real life. This final left-hander, you got to do a small little V like I just did there, and then shoot out towards the exit into the pit entry as you come to the middle of the track for the final right, which is a classical late apex. In the sim, these two corners, and actually generally in slow speed corners in ACC, is where I struggle most to find a feeling. Now switching to Assetto Corsa in a few seconds, and the first thing you'll notice is that the sound is quite a lot different. The game has got a much more throaty engine sound, and you must remember, even if you drive these cars in real life, you're wearing earplugs, so kind of what you heard in that onboard video is actually quite similar to what you'd hear in real life as well. There's a lot more auxiliary sounds that you hear in the game, like the crashing of the curbs and stuff, which you don't really hear in real life. Maybe if you smash a sausage curb a bit too aggressively, you'll hear it. I tried to do a lap here which replicated my real life lap as closely as possible, and you'll be surprised how difficult that is. It takes a lot of time to get right. Going through this left-hander a little bit tighter than in real life. Again, if you're a bit too aggressive on the power in the game, you will lose the rear a little bit easier than you would in real life. And once the car starts sliding in any of the sims, it's very difficult to gather that up. Whereas you'll see that in real life, I'm a lot busier on the steering wheel and can be a lot more aggressive with my inputs, and the car doesn't necessarily, I don't want to use the word overreact, but that's kind of the word I'm looking for, something a bit more subtle than that. Going over the curbs there, the setup I was using here was a safe setup, so it was riding curbs really nicely, and through the sequence here, the ACC got the feeling really, really well calibrated, in that it feels almost exactly like real life when we go through this high-speed section, trying to get the timing right and balance the transfer of the weight of the car to find your apexes and still be able to get on the power without losing the rear. Same in this final right-hander, or second last right-hander, but it's this section here where I struggle to find the feeling that I do in real life, just as a comparison. So I know that the guys in the aliens in this game can do around a 143 low. I'm not sure if they actually use the chicane or not. This particular lap was a 45, but my best around here in ACC is a 43.9 using the chicane without cutting aggressively like I've seen in some other onboards. We end off with a little bit of a side-by-side. Just again to do a small comparison, I will keep quiet just for now so that you can see or you can listen to the different engine notes and auxiliary sounds. So there you go, there's the side-by-side comparison, and I think the main thing to focus on there, more so than the sounds or anything like that, is if you watch the hand movements between the sim version and real life, you'll see that there's actually quite a big difference there that I think can still be improved upon in all sims. But at the same time, my favorite is still, at the moment, when it comes to GT3s, it has to be ACC. They've gotten the closest to what we are experiencing in real life. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed that real versus sim comparison. You can use this as a track guide if you want. And until the next one, I'll catch you around the next lap.